movie fans, welcome to Cold and Trash Horror Movie Grind the Podcast. I am your host, Ian. This is the show in which we grind on the absolute worst horror and sci-fi movies we can find and make fun of just how bad they are, as well as praise the good, cool classics that have been lost throughout time. Now get ready, because we're about to dive real deep inside of Hollywood's dumpster in search of the good, the so bad it's good, and the fucking ugly. Now put on your seatbelt, grab a beer or two, and enjoy the show. Welcome back, everybody, to Tokyo Gore Police. I am your host, Ian, and we're crazy movie, crazy, bonkers, absurd. Tokyo Gore Police. This is definitely cult and trash all the way. Japanese exploitation film, but pretty fun, as you can see, fun. Let's get right into it. We've got a crazy movie, about basically militarized police fighting mutant monsters called engineers. Throughout the entire movie, we have a whole list of characters that I've dubbed Brain Gunhead, Sophist, Pedo No Hands, Dick Nose Sally, Stacy No Tits, who later becomes Stacy No Tits Alligator Vagina. She looks like this. And Snail Girl, Dick Cannon, Blade Hand Nipple Acid, and more. Let's go ahead and bring in the crew. My first guest has been on here, but not in a while, actually. So, Jenna, welcome back.
Hello.
How you doing?
You forgot my favorite one, Vagina Chair Lady.
Oh yeah, who pisses on people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
that
forgot
was
that part.
that was going to be my question. Who's your favorite? So you've already answered it for me.
Yeah, there we
All
go.
right,
Vagina Chair Lady P or on
Golden
Golden Shower
Shower.
Lady.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, cool. What? When was the first time you seen this movie?
It was probably, if it was 2008, then I guess it was um freshman year of college then, because I saw it
Oh,
like pretty
nice.
much like the year it came out, but I was high as balls when I saw it, and I can't tell you anything about it. Like, so it was good. It was a good rewatch.
Okay, so you did in fact rewatch it.
Yes.
Okay, nice. How did you feel about it the second time around?
Well, I think I was messaging the chat about it when I was like, "Oh yeah,
Uh
so I've been watching like some extreme Japanese cinema lately, so I'm prepared." And then like I watched it, I was like, "Update, I am
huh.
not prepared."
Yeah.
Out of all the Japanese extreme cinema, like this one's got to be like the most bonkers.
Yeah, probably. It's a type of like Japanese exploitation that is actually meant for Western audiences.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So they really went all the way with it. Well, thanks for coming back. It's been a long time. Last episode you were on was that Troll 2 with Greg Sestero, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yay
Um,
for school. Takes up all my time.
oh yeah, I've been bugging you to come back, and you're like, nope, busy. Anyway, let's bring in another person. We all know him from the last several episodes in a row. Ian Engineer is here.
What's going on, Ian? How's it going, Jenna?
What
How you
up?
doing?
Just trying to keep my dick from turning into a giant cannon.
Every day.
Yeah.
So,
Well, just don't get it bitten off, and you should be fine.
I think
Easier
I might
said
like.
than done. I know, but
Yeah,
was this your first time seeing this?
yeah. Yesterday was my first time seeing it. I watched it subtitled, and I just finished watching it dubbed, just to get
Okay.
because, like you said, this was intended for a Western audience. So watching it dubbed kind of it gave me a little more ear towards that.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably like easier to watch dub because there's so much going on that you can't like watch the movie and like do all the reading and subtitles at the same time because it's so visual.
Where
Well,
did you see
before,
it dubbed?
Both
I,
versions are on Tubi.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, actually, I downloaded the dubbed version though. That's the only one they got on Pirate Bay right now.
Mhm.
Sorry, but
what how did you enjoy it?
oh man, I thought it was a delightful blend of tones, with long periods of gore and violence peppered with these hilarious satirical commercials.
Yeah,
And
right.
little parts and lines that are purposely humorous.
Yeah.
So it's a movie that I think was aware of itself,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that helped it in the long run.
Uh-huh. Who's your favorite engineer?
Well, she stole the vagina chair lady, because that scene where it's a sex club, and if we could pull it up at some point, we should. But
Yeah, I don't
they
have
all
it.
get golden
I
showered
don't think
hard.
YouTube will have that one.
Yeah.
Just let me sum it up
We're
real
gonna
quick. So
hold
there's it's like three ladies that have this engineer thing. Then they're all stripping, and these guys are standing down there, and they're picking the one they want to have sex with by what number is branded on them. And they get through
Yeah.
the lady with the zipped up nipple breasts, and then they get through the
Stacy
who
No
else was on?
Tits.
Okay, and then Snail Girl was
Yeah.
also there,
Uh-huh.
and one other. But then, and everybody's partying, having a good time. They bust the curtain open. Vagina chair lady. Silence. You can hear a
And
pin
then
drop,
clap.
And
and
then
then
she starts
and then
pissing
they
on
just
him.
and then she just is it piss? Is it squirt? What's the difference? I don't know. But she just starts going, dude, like a fire hose, and everyone is so excited to just participate.
And this is like clearly like an S&M club with like I was like, "Oh man, where did they get these extras?" Like there's like some crazy outfits and then like
Probably
there's
an
like
S&M
the
club.
fetish balloon chicks or dudes or people
Yeah,
walking
right.
around.
That's
So since Jenna took the vagina chair lady, what's your next favorite?
shit. I gotta come. I gotta come. Let's get our next guest in here
All
before.
right,
I mean,
I'll give you some
everyone's
time to think
favorite
about it.
can be.
Daniel's
Yeah,
here.
Hi. Yeah,
Daniel.
I'm really excited that you brought me on before Ian could go ahead and steal my thunder, since Jenna went ahead and chose my favorite. Of course, I adored that scene
So everyone's
because
favorite is vagina chair lady. We got it.
absolutely
Fantastic scene.
the reveal was just great because everyone was silent. And just to give our viewers a visual, since we can't actually do it, there's no head. There is
Yeah.
That's true,
IVs
yeah.
going into it. She has been manipulated to the point where you can see all of these pumps going into her to keep her alive, all this sort of thing. And you can't really tell that it's very human. There's a giant leaf-ish shaped covering. Think weird murals of Adam and Eve. And a tiny little gash at the top of it. And she just starts spraying, and the crowd goes wild, absolutely wild. And you're
As
just
you
like,
do.
and the best part about this revealing scene is like, you're given a what the fuck, then you're given a okay, serious what the fuck. And then you get that, and you're just like, I can't process
Well,
this anymore.
you say
And that's
that
where
you
Jenna
say that
said,
throughout the entire movie. To be fair,
well, yes, but this is a scene that like actually broke me for it. Like I'm imagining that that's a scene where Jenna messages us and says, "Well," and I in fact was not prepared because
I'm,
that's a scene where I was
I'm
in
pretty
fact not
sure
prepared.
that's
Like,
the
no.
scene that I was like, I was not ready for this.
Like I was ready for the first one. I was fairly ready for the second one. When that third girl hit, I was just like, nope.
Yeah, and it's
I
like
expected a lot of weird stuff. The one that I expected, but I was most pleased with. That's the one I'm going to choose for my favorite, since Jenna's already got
Okay.
everybody's favorite.
Which is
That's going to be Fido, the sword gimp, and I think that that's definitely one of my more favorite characters.
Stubbs.
Not technically an engineer though, just a quadra amputee.
Yeah,
That's totally an engineer, though.
counts.
No.
No, that's an engineer because it changes shape at the end.
No. If they were an engineer, it doesn't change shape. It adds guns and swords to it. If it was an engineer, then it would have grown those and had those like grotesque things. But instead, it
Yeah,
had like
with that
artificial
bio
ones.
key thing.
And it was
Yeah.
the pet of the dude who
Of the
hates
cop.
engineers
Yeah.
and wanted to
Yeah.
kill
So
them
it's
all and
not an
eradicate them.
engineer.
And
But
Maybe it's kinda
it
like-
counts. I
no,
mean,
it
for the
doesn't
cl-
count. You said engineer, Ian. This is bullshit. Daniel, give a real answer. Well, I think of mine.
I'm holding out that I believe that that's an actual engineer. I don't see evidence against it.
We just gave you
Where's
that,
the lore? We need the companion novel.
Did you even watch this movie?
Yes, I did, but I watched it by myself, which was my biggest mistake.
You don't even know which
You
side.
do not watch this by yourself and sober. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, the
Oh,
movie's
man.
pretty hazy for
Oh,
me
I
because
saw it.
I tried multiple attempts, but it was at like the middle of the night, and I kept falling asleep. So like, and waking up and just seeing like random scenes in random order, and I kept rewinding it and falling asleep. And
That's
it's-
exactly how I saw it the first time. Except instead of sleeping, it was just like highness.
yeah. Which it makes a pretty good fever dream, pretty much. You know?
I mean, there is still a strong underlying message, and I think we'll probably get into that later. But
I don't know if it's strong, but no, we can get into it now. Why don't you tell us what is this message?
Well, the director Nishimura, he majored in law in college, right? Yeah.
Oh, he's got the receipts.
And he was you know, and this movie is actually a remake of one of his early indie films from 1995 called like Anatomina
His
Exotica.
first movie.
No, it's a remake of one of his movies. It was only an hour long. You call it a short or
Oh,
something,
okay,
and it's way low budget, but you can still find it on YouTube if you're interested. But yeah, so he said all he watched was the news and TVs and or the news and movies and read Fangoria. And when he said he saw the news, let me see, direct quote, when I watch the news, I question how come society is not a certain way. I addressed my frustration with the society in Tokyo Gore Police. That's a direct quote. So what do you think that means, Ian?
Sorry, I wasn't paying.
I mean, if you
Anybody.
were to ask me, like
what were his frustrations with society that he's addressing in this film?
if you were to ask me, like, what do you think this movie was fueled by? I'd be like, well, it was definitely fueled by someone watching the news a lot and reading Fangoria a lot. So it works.
Right.
Right.
Well, yeah. So there are a lot of themes in this movie about as I mentioned earlier. You have it's a real like militarized police force that
Specifically a privatized police.
Yeah, privatized. Yeah. Which reminds me a lot of RoboCop and Judge Dredd, Starship Troopers. It's that kind of line, but with a bunch of really
had that like satire-y, like propaganda.
Yeah, especially
when
when you have these commercials that keep popping in about like, this is a cool knife you could use to cut yourself. But especially the video game that's like allows you to to execute prisoners from your own living room with the family.
You talking Guantanamo Bay VR?
Yeah.
That was like Wii.
Yeah, they were literally Wiimotes they were using. Those were actual Wiimotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't end well. Wah.
But yeah, my favorite commercial is probably the anti-Harikari one. That one's bizarre. The cutting commercial is pretty good. The guy who like swallows the sword and he's like, "It's so sharp. It's so sharp." I mean, they go on some surrealist shit, and which brings me back to Nishimura's influences, right? He said he had three main influences: Dolly, The Thing, and Videodrome.
Very much
Videodrome.
Cronenberg.
Yeah. So yeah, The Thing, Videodrome, and mixed with the surrealism of Salvador Dali, which I know the guy's a troubled person, but I'm still a big fan of his art, right? So I can I can see where he gets
Oh,
that
is
from.
he
If
canceled? What
Yeah, he
happened
got
with him?
canceled recently, 100 years after he died. But
Damn.
but if you go back and watch Unchien Andalou, that was a surrealist film that he made. There's a lot of
Oh, the
body
one with the
gore.
eye.
Yeah, the eye, they cut and
Yeah.
they're cut like a goat's eye instead. And
Oh wow.
you could see a lot of that in not just Nishimura's work, but in a lot of the body horror work of this era.
Wow. Daniel, you're being really quiet. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
Not really too much. I really the big things that you guys hit on were stuff that I definitely noticed. I mean, the privatization of the police is something that is a really hugely underlying thing from the Japanese movies that I enjoy from the cult classics. Anything from Story of Rikio. I actually felt there was
Yeah.
a lot of similarities to how the cops function and stuff. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, because this is one of the ones towards the end of my line with me only watching this yesterday of seeing, I had a little bit of the this has been played out before feeling watching it. And
Yeah.
I
I kind
understand
of
that
agree a little bit.
some tropes don't age poorly, but some of them do get done to death. That if it is the one that you're watching towards the end of a long string of seeing that same trope, it's a little played out. And it yeah, we'll get into how we felt about the plot and how progression worked and whether or not there was really a strong plot into it later when you guys get down that path. But the video drone thing
Well,
was the
we
big thing I
could
wanted to
do
touch
that
on.
right
Daniel,
now.
I can already tell that you're coming at this from a Western linear mindset. All right. Now I can tell by the Goku plushie behind you. You're a fan of the Japanese arts. All right. You must know that you can't look at this as a straight line. And I know what you're talking about with the storytelling. It did kind of bounce around, right? It was am I wrong on this? It goes back
That's
and
not
forth.
It
incorrect.
definitely did
Is the
bounce
thing.
around.
It's not a thing I don't like about it.
It's hard to follow. It's hard to follow.
Oh no,
But
I don't mind the following part of that. I felt that that's fine, and I don't mind movies that are confusing that require a second watch. I just hate glaring plot gaps, to use this a Deus Ex Machina. Um,
Yeah.
so
Go on. Go on.
my big stupid plot gap is that the protagonist in the movie, samurai cop, or whatever it is that you named her. I don't have the list of names that you gave all of them, but police
Ruka.
girl.
Yeah, Ruka.
Yeah, Ruka. Ruka's stepfather or caretaker was the guy that killed her father.
Yeah, that part was kind of weak.
In a way, but like
in front of
I
her.
know that it's an imagery thing, but
No,
they
no,
literally show the three of them like, okay, here's one. Okay, he's gonna shoot this guy now. This is your father. Then this guy's here, right here. And the guy standing right next to him is the guy who's about to be your father. And both of you are watching that right next to each other, literally like this and this. And
all right.
oh yeah, you know what? I totally forgot that very important moment of my life that has defined me. Like
No, okay. You have to look at it, and this was laid out very well throughout the movie, actually, because the first time you see her flash back to this is at the very beginning of the film, and all you see is his head explode. You don't see if it's from a bullet. It looks like Phantasm. It just or scanners or whatever head explosion basket case movies
they're
there
all
are.
the same movie. We discussed that also.
So yeah, this was no exception. So you got the head explosion. We don't see what it is, and then you see a guy, the dude who raised her with the mask on, holding the gun up to the head. This was like 15-20 minutes in. She has another, and she's slowly gaining more memory of this for some reason, because maybe she's like, I don't know, in her early 20s and her frontal lobes finishing to develop or something. I don't know, but she's slowly getting these memories back, and by the end of it, we realize it wasn't even him, the dad that shot her father, like it showed in some of her flashbacks. It was the keymaster's father who actually sniper shot the dad, and then the dude that raised her, the police chief, killed the keymaster's father.
Yeah. See, that's where I have a problem. Is like, why hire another guy to do it when you're just going to kill him? Why don't you just do it yourself if you're just going to kill the guy who's standing right next to him? So that's where it kind of
Well,
loses
but
me.
that's so no, it makes perfect sense. So he wouldn't get his hands dirty. He's standing next to him.
But he
It-
killed
it-
the guy who
Someone
killed
else
the
is taking
guy.
the fall.
so yeah, so that no one would find out, and it worked because he's still the chief of police.
I guess.
If he was shown to kill the actual police, which the father was a vocal opponent of privatizing the police force.
And
I
They-
mean,
he
I
would
don't want to
never-
get too conspiratorial, but like JFK, they kind of did the same thing. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Are you saying this movie is an allegory for the assassination of John F. Kennedy? Because if you'd like to, go on.
Ian did say that it was made for American audiences. And
uh-huh.
he's like, I think I know what I'll talk about.
Dude,
But
you know what Americans are good at? Assassinations.
anyway, I
Are
do kind of like it's not like the strongest story, but I do like how there's this really good cop who is so popular that and he's against the privatization, militarization. He's just a good cop, so he gets assassinated, and then the guy who hired the assassin is the one who becomes the privatized guy, and we find out that he's evil. I mean, it's not anything original, but it's kind of cool.
Well, adding in that the son of the assassin was the guy who started the engineers.
And how did he do that, by the way?
Because he was a smart kid. It explains in the movie. He was always
Oh, no,
toiling
this
with the
is like-
chemistry
No, he
sets.
injected murder DNA into his own.
Yes,
Not-
yes,
Not just
I was
murder
getting there.
DNA.
I was
because
getting
it
there.
All the
showed, like,
murders.
it showed like all of the serial killers, like every single serial killer's
Uh-huh.
DNA he injected in himself, but then
This
he
dude
just
was
kind of
sweating.
died, and then like I'm assuming like Shinto Satan comes out and is like, oh, you're waking me up, here's like a death scroll, or like here's some weird fucked up key, see ya, go back to being alive. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I just want to
What?
say that host Ian's reaction to the last portion of this segment was how I felt with with basically every reveal in it. Like, I did want to see the movie progress. I didn't dislike the movie, but I was like, I guess. Pretty much every single reveal. Like when they revealed the
Yeah.
cop, when they revealed Dad Cop right in the beginning, evil Dad Cop, I was just like, oh, that's the bad guy. Look at the way he acts and does everything. Like, and he's got his gimp right from
You
the
know
beginning.
what?
Like, that's a bad
like
guy.
they might as well have had like the bad guy, or the guy who we think is the bad guy, the like a brain gunhead guy. They might as well have been him being like, "I am your father." Have that throw that reveal in there.
No,
Dude.
why not?
2008. I mean, they could have. They could have triple Shyamalan it, but I don't know.
I mean-
Okay, we're talking about glaring plot points and lapses. What about when she first gets back from the initial fight with dreadlock chainsaw arm guy, Ash, for lack of a better word. What about when she gets there and then it's all dark and he's walking at her with Gimp with legless Gimp guy, and it's clear who it is. It's the dude who has the legless Gimp. It's like the guy who raised her. Like she knows who it is. Yet she pulls her sword out as if she's like about, and that's what the audience is meant to think too, because we haven't been introduced to this character yet. So now we think she's about to get attacked too, but she pulls the sword out and gets all defensive and shit. And then he's like, "Happy birthday! I got you a badge." What why did she react the way she did? Is that explainable?
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing he's going to be the bad guy, but it wasn't. It was like you knew who that was. Who else has like a legless Gimp dude? Unless the Gimp dude started that day, because that was his first day on the job.
It's kind of like I just didn't fucking care about any plot.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of that.
the dude is definitely mainly a special effects kind of guy. I didn't go as deep as a engineer did in like his stuff, but I did look at like his IMDb and I was like, oh, he does like a lot of special effects. And you know what? Like, I
was
felt
definitely
like
the best
I
part of
didn't
the
really
movie.
care about any like weird like plot things. And I loved how like I'm like, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Fuck if I know. Like I don't know what's gonna
Right.
happen, and you know what?
Nobody will.
And then something weird happens, and you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
Jenna, don't
The
sell your
whole movie, you just react, all right, okay, yes. But then something that he does that's good for it is because he hammers you in that way long enough, you really get that style over substance sort of vibe with it. But he does provide a fair amount of substance. I think knowing that it was a Japanese movie meant to cater to a Western audience makes that make more sense. Like, hey, you know what's really shocking and crazy to Westerners? Just giving them no clue what the next thing's going to be. We're going to make it over the top. Oh, here's a basic idea of what you think's going to happen. You know what? Nah, we're going to pull out a guy who has a gigantic gun that shoots arms out of it that pierce your body. Like,
That's what I call a hand
the
cannon.
what?
which are easily turned around by putting
A tongue?
a pole.
If you happen to be making a middle finger, then it would be turned around and
Yeah.
now go back
But
into
it just
you.
goes.
And
But
then
again,
the dead fingers
that
pierce you.
implausibility is like it's a visual imagery of the actual plot. It's implausible and it's fun, and it doesn't
telling you,
really matter. You're along for a ride. You're not really. And
It's chaos.
Ian, I'm sorry to say, I
Absolute
don't know if you're meant to think very deep about it, but I think you're supposed to learn something. I don't know what it is, but you're supposed to maybe.
I mean, it's a deeply satirical. There are multiple points. For one, my favorite scene starts on the subway train. I think y'all know. I think Ian, you called him pedo no hands.
Yeah.
So it starts with our main character Ruka seeing a young girl on the subway train eating bugs. Right, she's eating bugs and enjoying it, and they zoom in on her face and like, ooh, gross out. She's
Right.
eating bugs. But what does that tell you? You know, like where are they at in this society where they're forced to eat bugs? You know, like what does that show about the deterioration of society as far as what natural resources are available
Yeah.
to the common people? At the same time, you got this dude behind her coming to feel her ass up and shit, right? Like coming to grope her. And now you got
that's
street
just normal
justice.
in Japan.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, well, okay, we could talk about the cultural customs of Japan as far. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot all around, but either way, he comes.
For the
So
record, I am part Japanese, so if I say something offensive, it's I'm
It's
oh
okay.
coming
no.
from a good place.
Hey, thanks for the heads up. No, but then yeah, there's the grope, and then she takes him around back, and he's like, no, I never meant to, and then she cuts his arms off, and he sprays blood everywhere, and it rains blood, and she walks away in like this beautiful
With
scene.
the umbrella.
Yeah,
That was nice.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like some Kill Bill shit.
Yeah,
That's what I wrote Kill Bill down on the notes right at that scene.
Yeah, because I looked up, like, I was trying to. There's definitely a lot of references in this movie. I kind of want to get into them real quick because, like,
yeah, good.
Japanese horror in like the early 2000s was like my fucking jam. So
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of aware. So it reminded me a lot of that stylistically. It was a lot like Battle Royale. If you guys have seen that.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and well, that's what the Hunger Games is based on.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
a way better
Oh,
Hunger
okay.
Games. Way
Yeah.
better.
I've heard of it actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't. If you watch the Hunger
All right,
Games, then
All
you'll
right,
be in a
okay.
really good.
Before you get there, I have like one movie that I saw back then, like when I was like 18, that was like like some hot shit. Like I didn't watch a lot of Japanese gore, but Ichi the Killer, they
Oh,
definitely
my favorite movie.
they definitely do the sliced in half scene twice in this movie where they cut in half and then it goes and then like there's a little time lapse and then it splits
Yeah.
apart.
But
That's an
that was
Ichi. Oh, did
that
it
was
come from before that?
Takashi Miike, so it was like definitely way bigger budget than Tokyo Gore. I did appreciate that Tokyo Gore Police, you can tell it had such a small budget because there are so many
Yeah.
things where like they
But
zoom in and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, you just gotta
They did a
pretend
really
like
good
you're getting
job.
ripped apart. Like
Do you know how long it took them to film this movie?
2 weeks.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
And that's not just the filming, but all of it, the editing, the effects, everything.
2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for the effects artists that had to do all the practical effects in that amount of time. That must have been 24/7.
Yeah,
There's
right.
there's this
Building
one
all those
movie.
models and applications. Holy shit, that's so long.
There's
I
this
almost
one
don't
movie.
believe that. I read that same thing, Ian. I almost don't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, when did they start the models?
Believe it. I don't know.
I might call bullshit. I think Daniel's right. I'm calling bullshit. It didn't never happen, dude. This thing took 3 months at least.
Right.
Jenna, let's get you back on track. Where were you?
So there's another movie that I think was heavily inspired, which is 964 Pinocchio. And I brought that was in 1991, and I brought that up because they also like filmed it in like absolutely no time whatsoever. And they actually had to guerrilla shot the entire movie, and they would have to. So there's like they're like in public constantly, and there's what you'd think would be extras everywhere, but nope, it's just real people who like definitely didn't want to be filmed. And there's scenes where they're like stealing food and like eating food in the grocery store, and people are like kind of looking at them funny but not doing anything. And that's like those were like real reactions, I guess. So,
Oh, nice.
and so I just thought it was like, oh yeah, I guess like this is a thing in these types of movies that they were making at that time.
Right.
So what else? What was the other movie that I was going to bring up?
13.
I was not going to bring up 13.
That one Cradle of Filth music video where they're all like playing violin on their arms.
No.
Nobody remembers that one.
That's true. It might have been inspired by that. There is a lot of cutting in this movie, and like
Yes.
wrist cutting, self-harm.
And they made it seem like so natural and normal, and like that's the thing to do.
Yeah, more than that, they made it hip, like to the next level.
Which going back to like the message of this movie, it's like that's the kind of society that these characters are living in. That they're like
And that
eating bugs and cutting themselves.
glamorizing that
also
stuff. It's like spreading negativity throughout the population, which makes people easier to control. Kind of.
that's
Like,
actually another movie I was going to bring up was Suicide Club.
yeah.
That was 2001, and that movie was about like basically like groups of girls who like slit their wrists, kill themselves. It's also a Japanese movie. You know, throw themselves off buildings all together, like, all right, we're in a cool little secret club. Yay. So I guess that was just like a thing.
Yeah.
And if you
Well-
look back on it in like the early 2000s, like the Bush era, like that was a thing too here. Like
Well,
it wasn't.
I think it became
unusual.
popular. It became a big thing here. A lot to do with like the emo movement of the early
Yeah.
2000s. You know, a lot of,
Yeah.
you know, cut my heart because I love you. You know, stab me in the chest. My last poor, like, was that Hawthorne Heights song? If you cut me and I bleed on your shirt, like my last, I'm sorry for standing your shirt is my last words or something. You know what I'm talking about.
We
remember
get
that
the
song.
gist.
Yeah.
But it's more of like, yeah, there's that in this,
But
in,
in
like,
but
the
in
popular
Japan,
culture.
in Japan, you have it going back, you know, a long time to this you know, what the ritualistic
Harikiri.
suicide. Yeah. You know, seppuku or harikiri.
Harikiri. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
knife that they use, but I think
Right.
it's called seppuku.
But yeah,
I try so hard not to say Harry Carey when
So
when I said
so
that.
like, yes, there's the relevance of that, but I think it also has something to do with like the society that these characters are living in. Like I said, it's like kind of like a Running Man type society.
So, big question for you, Ian, on that one. Does the world building and tone, does that beat the plot for you?
Yeah, it
Yeah, for me too. I have it in really big letters in 3 spots in my notes. Just
does.
world building better than plot.
Right.
I'm not following the plot, but that world building is the plot for me.
Especially
Like, just-
the engineers, which is my favorite part. Of it's like because it's real creative. It's like it's the key tumor thing that is inserted into their body of some sort. So that wherever they get wounded, their wound becomes a weapon, and in various parts of their bodies,
And that's a
different
direct
types
reference.
of weapons.
That's a direct reference to Videodrome, to the tumors that gave people powers
Yeah,
in Videodrome.
it definitely made me think of Videodrome a lot, but a little more creative though, because our main girl, she gets shot in the eye, and then all of a sudden like she gets this like Terminator
Robot eye.
RoboCop thing, yeah. And then there's the girl that was in the background behind me earlier. She gets her legs cut off, so then she forms this like alligator mouth thing.
And I'm also surprised that no one said that Cannon Penis is
The cannon
like
penis, yeah, exactly.
one of your guys' favorite engineers, because he's
No.
definitely my second favorite.
He's pretty great, yeah. So yeah, his dick gets bitten off, and then it turns into a cannon.
His dick gets bitten off by no tits vagina alligator lady.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a
what I
reason
call a
that I
hard
don't
on.
like him. I don't like him for his glaring plot gap, which is, wait a minute.
You talking about the cop?
No, Dick Cannon.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
cop.
cop.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I thought you meant the main cop. No. I don't like him specifically because I don't understand how the key works. He turned evil because of the key.
Yeah.
But what's his motivation, and how come he turned evil because of that? Also, the installation of the key was very odd to me too, because it was done using psychic powers, and I'm guessing that's because of Brain Guy's powers that we don't really see that much. That he can split open somebody's head and then instantly heal them using the power of the key. But I don't know how the key works. And they don't explain it at any point during the movie. And it's just sort of like, no, just believe it. Just believe it. It's part of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A wizard. It's fine.
This
it's
movie does not need
did
any explanation.
but again, that's where the world building beats the plot. And that's when he's one of the characters that drove it home for me on that. Just like, don't ask any questions about his motivation or what happened. Just accept that he was good. He is now evil. And that's what happened.
Well, all cops are bastards there, so he was never good.
Well, he was bad.
No, they're clearly good cops in this universe. Like,
yeah, no, I'm just making a joke.
Can we put like Tokyo Gore ACAB? Like,
but no, it is cool that it's like he's a cop. He's one of the supposed good guys. He's putting away bad guys, and then on his time off, he's going into like weird brothels and shit, and he's like trying to get laid, and then yeah, it happens. He turns into an engineer, and then he's used to like infiltrate the police force and kill all of them. I thought that was really cool. Like taking the why he did it doesn't matter, but the fact that
cool
he did
nonsense.
it,
it's very cool nonsense. Again,
but I do like how they used the police.
I just thought of something though. I don't think that those people in that club were engineers, like the no tits lady. Like, I don't think they were engineers either.
No, they definitely were.
But like they didn't have any weapons or anything like that.
No tits absolutely was an engineer, because when she got her legs blown off,
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
And I don't know how to tell you this, but most people don't have snail shells.
That was another movie I was gonna say is Uzumaki. It's a movie and it's also a comic book, which is really good. Junji Ito. He's like a big time horror manga guy. And I was like, oh my god, it's the snail from Uzumaki.
Oh, nice.
I'm writing that one down. Sorry.
Also, there's another thing that we didn't address yet, which is like a very big theme in this movie. Yeah, it's about privatization of the police force, but it's also about like S&M and BDSM.
Yeah.
Like it is heavily about that. I'd say
his favorite movie's
mostly
Videodrome.
about that.
I've got,
Yeah,
I've got a highlighted character we haven't discussed yet that I've been waiting for that for. So good. I'm excited about it.
Go ahead.
The prostitute lady?
Yes,
Leather Daddy?
Yuka, the prostitute lady. Our introduction to her is very sleazy, and I really like that introduction because it sort of world builds what is a prostitute and what is a pimp inside of this universe, and how deep it has gotten into, okay, literally I told you any amount of time that you go over this exact 1 hour mark, you will be immediately charged a huge amount. And they treated him so terribly at this point. Now, keep in mind, this is a pervert that is paying money for a thing, but the way in which they treated him so harshly,
he couldn't hear the vibrator was too loud, is what he said.
Yeah.
The vibrator
but
was too loud.
They do that, but I couldn't figure out Yuka's motivation or plotline at all. And I know that her pimp was one of the reasons that we got going inside of the actual plot of the movie. But Yuka herself, I couldn't figure out. It just made no sense.
Wasn't Yuka Ruka undercover? Trying to infiltrate the Keymaster? That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I just watched it twice. Yuka is Ruka. She was undercover.
Okay, that would make a little bit of sense. That also explains some of how she followed some of it. So
they did not address it directly.
Well. Yeah, I couldn't track characters very well because as much as I was paying attention to this movie, there's so much distracting shit happening in it that unless and I did the dubbed version with subtitles, so I got very confused with some of who is who and what was going on in it. But I found the voices really hard to work with.
I really could not pay attention towards the end where there was the the bartender lady who's friends with Yuka.
Oh no, that was one of the best scenes. Drawn and quartered.
Yeah, I just don't how did that? They trashed her place
because the police start to suspect everyone of being an engineer.
Okay.
And they overstep their bounds. So when she shows up and she sees them doing this, and now she has the engineer abilities. And she goes, "What the fuck? This is all bullshit." And then she kills them all. That's one of the best scenes when they're all dancing and high fiving each other after they.
Yeah. That's
hey.
I just couldn't understand how they got there. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, they're evil.
That's again one of my crazy things that I have in here is Ruka got her engineer abilities from her friendship bracelet with the bartender.
Oh.
That's how I saw that. Her friendship bracelet reacted when this girl was drawn and quartered and she held it towards her head. It exploded off of her, and her arm that it was attached to turned into an alligator monster.
Or maybe that was
what the hell was that?
Maybe because that was her being hurt. Technically, that was her. It's if you get hurt, right? If your hand gets cut off and you get hurt, it grows back, it grows into a weapon. So she was hurt by her friend dying, and then that was a symbol of
as much
I thought she got
technoscience as we have, why is it that
could be right too? I don't remember.
I thought it was a boom. I don't know, dude. I got
mysticism. We got to choose one of these things. I don't understand a lot in this movie, and it was distracting.
It begs a second watch.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You definitely have to watch it a few times.
If I had time, I would have rewatched it again today because there is a plot, and you can follow it, and it's dense and it's chaotic. So if you're ready to talk about it, you gotta it's a rewatch for sure, and it's totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there's one scene that we really need to touch on before Ian brings us back on track right now. So there's definitely a perception of foreigners in Japan. There's a negative perception of the foreigners in Japan, and you can see this with the where they had a Chinese guy and then a dude in blackface.
Oh my god, that was so.
Yeah, we all want to skip over it, but I can't let it happen. So it was a legit dude in blackface, and a Chinese guy being I love killing Japanese.
I got so
Like a
desensitized
dog, like-
by that point that it
By that point, you're just like,
oh no, that's fine. That's
yeah,
I might
totally
have to
bad.
go
status
with
quo.
Daniel.
That was just like
It doesn't
a
even
weird-
register.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
just like a weird little bit of just racism thrown in there, and I'm like, what's that other guy supposed to represent? I don't really want to know. like the blackface dude.
He looks like a dude out of an anime. He looks like Piccolo, dude. It was like a legit foreigner, like just like foreigner. Like
I'm good. Yeah, like
this
I'm
dude
gonna
is not
say-
from Japan. Fuck him.
knowing Japan, like it's definitely like a part of somewhere in Asia where they were dissing them, like, oh, those tall, lumpy head, dark skinned people from
Yo,
China.
they just don't
Like,
know.
I
They
have
just
no
don't know
idea.
any black people, so they invent other things that are. They're like, oh yeah, they all have fucking cone heads. Like, no,
Well,
they.
Japan is
like, what are you talking
super
about?
colorist. Like,
Yeah, I know. That's why this scene exists.
yeah, like it's like there's this one part of Japan, Okinawa. Like Japan does not like Okinawa, and Okinawa does not like Japan. If you ask Japan why they don't like Okinawa, they're like, oh, they're so dark. It's like
Damn.
what?
Yeah, dude. That color. I mean, dude, I watched Samurai Champloo. Like they treat and fucking not to mention Bobby from fucking Dragon Ball Z. Was that his name? Who's the dude? You know what I'm talking about.
Bobby.
What's his name? The dude on the Kai Cloud. He looks like a fucking like a minstrel drawing from the 1890s. Like
Mr. Popo.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Popo. Fucking or fucking Jinx from Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a long history of this kind of like, but I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
scene was just like, I was like, that's a lot of racism to throw in all of a sudden at the end of this fucking movie.
Ian, can we get a clip?
Okay. We did not need this.
I don't even have a note
okay.
about it because of how distracted I was and how like this movie does a great job of throwing you off so hard into desensitization that I kind of appreciate you guys bringing that up as much as I think it's kind of a silly thing that has nothing to do with the rest of the plot. It almost like they accomplished something about media and about the future. Like, oh, you barely even noticed how ridiculous this part was because of all that violence you just watched, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
it's like
actually.
one shock after another.
Like
Yeah,
if you can
I
be
was
desensitized
desensitized
to
by that
this. If you can be desensitized to this, you can be desensitized to eating maggots and worms, or to being groped on a subway train without cutting the guy's arms off. And I think
just
our
wait till
main
we get to a
character.
hobo with a shotgun.
No, but like, I mean, I almost wonder if they switched that scene out with any other scene in the movie, if you would have missed that other scene in the movies. Like you mentioned, like, oh, okay, groping guy on the subway. What if he was switched out and instead they switched those two scenes completely in the plot line of this, and all of a sudden we saw him show up in the middle, like, oh yeah, that happens. I just like browsed over that, like doesn't even hit my radar at this point.
Yeah, no, I definitely paid attention because of the blackface. That was definitely
Yeah.
a big aspect.
No, it's really good, but I somehow didn't even.
Is it really good?
When I was growing up, there was a lot of Chinese people in my school, and I remember when they found out that I was part Japanese, they like stopped talking to me.
Really?
Yo, that's real
and I
beef,
was
dude.
like,
That's
yeah,
real
and I
beef.
was like, what's going on? And like, not. I found out later in like this
No.
movie, it's like that's probably why.
Oh no, I mean, I don't know if you're
also
aware, but
Nanking.
yeah. Japan historically has not been the greatest of neighbors to China.
And there's still not. I can't speak for the people now, so I won't. But
it's different now. Not ever since it's different. Yeah, but yeah, no. I mean, Japan was wilding back in the day, dude. I mean, like you said, Nanking. Come on, that shit was like.
Come on, guys.
That shit was wild, dude. They were fucking, dude. They were wild.
I've got a question for your engineer. You watched both subtitled and dubbed, and I want to know what you noticed as a result of that. Was there significant differences? Was it pretty much a word for word translation? How is the acting different?
What
sort of things did you notice?
One thing initially, immediately, the first thing I noticed is that it felt more like Resident Evil. It felt more like a video game that
Wait, which side?
Poorly overdubbed.
Very much like a video game, yeah.
Which one?
The dubbed.
Yeah. Okay.
When I'm 7 years old playing Resident Evil, I don't have access to a subtitled version with the original audio track. So you hear, "Jill, no," you hear that, and that's the same. It was like when I was a kid, my daddy was a police officer.
Yeah.
It's like it's rough, dude. It's very, but at the same time, there's such large periods where the dialogue doesn't matter at all that it's very watchable. No, I mean that like there's large periods where they don't talk, where there's just a dude with a snake arm like fucking himself or something, like
right.
If you didn't watch the movie, you got to check that scene out. It's great.
There's always just like little gems every time like you mention something about this movie.
It takes a few watches. It really does.
Just to get used to.
So what do you think about the first bad guy who's not the real bad guy, the brain guy with the exposed brain and the gun eyes?
A snail man?
Very boring.
He is boring, but he has a cool look though.
Isn't that Keymaster? That's Keymaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, he's alive at the. Okay, can we spoil the stinger?
Yeah, it just shows up at the.
Did you guys watch after the credits?
Yeah.
Stingmaster's back, baby. Fucking Keymaster with the eyes, dude, and his head's back.
Yeah.
Like
lots of people are back for some reason. Acid Girl's back. I don't know.
Yeah, because she like put them back together somehow. But I like his look. He like with the exposed brain with little like gun eyes. Although I gotta say his peripheral vision's got to be just absolutely terrible.
Snail Girl's got some one up on that because she can just do like one of these and like
she's fine. But with the two like long like that, he probably has double vision too. It's probably gotta be terrible, but he can shoot bullets through his eyes, so that's cool.
That seems unnecessary.
Yeah, like there's better places to shoot bullets.
Like guns? I have a serious problem with the practicality of any of these things. So Alligator Girl No Tits, Stacy Alligator No Tits, I don't know what you called her. But like I appreciate that she has a somewhat practicality of one, she lost both her feet. So she can't walk anymore anyways. So what better thing to do than be able to cut off other people's feet, thereby reducing them down to your level so you can eat them. That is okay. But so many of these things turn out completely impractical. Like, I don't know. And they show you plenty of situations in which it works, but like, okay, so let's say that I didn't just samurai sword off your entire chest. Would I have been okay without the acid blood, or did you have some other way you were going to do it? Like,
yeah.
You didn't open with the acid blood. I mean, it's a wrist-cutting culture. You could have just at a person and gotten them, but you didn't. It's a very baffling movie to me on so many different levels.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
That's
the entire point. That's the entire reason to watch it.
For someone like you, I can tell like this movie would be very frustrating because like you're like, I need these things to make sense in some form or fashion.
You're talking to the guy who loves Turkish Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I entered into it wrong. No, he's saying that my love of Turkish Star Wars, so that is not in fact correct. Which I agree with, but I approached this movie wrong. I watched it fairly tired, fairly sober, and by myself. This is not how I would ever watch this movie again. None of those things should happen. You should watch it with other people. I like the idea of putting this on the background of a party that is not specifically based towards this this sort of audience, and just having people just like
that, and that's
what is
like
that?
Actually, that's
it'd be a
not,
great background piece for things because you can jump in and out of it, and it apparently doesn't make too big of a difference. But like if you sit there and watch it, you're just going to be like, this is some crazy shit going on right there. I really appreciate this.
One of my friends would hold a like big Halloween party every year, and he would put movies like that on in the background, like Meatball Machine and stuff like that, and just have it playing on silent. And like people would be talking, hanging out, dancing, and then they just look over and they'd be like, "What the fuck are we watching right now?"
I actually want to bring this up, Jenna. Thank you for bringing up Meatball Machine in specific because I found it unwatchable. And I love that this movie avoided the things that I really disliked. But I wanted to talk about triggers and Japanese gore movies because I think Japanese gore movies have a lot of triggers for different people. And I think that this one very nicely avoided a lot of the ones that I won't continue to watch a movie for, that Meatball Machine absolutely did not. And other things like Audition, like I don't particularly appreciate torture porn, but when we're going towards Gore-esque crazy bloodbaths, I can do that.
That's Tokyo Gore Police. So
dude, I'm so glad you brought up Gore because that is very much the vein that this exists in.
Yeah, it really is,
dude. And like I've seen Gore many times, and it's the same feeling as when you're getting sprayed with vagina juice from a chair.
Yeah, exactly. That is straight from a Gore concert.
That's a Gore.
Maybe they did do it in 2 weeks because they just took
I've been to a Gore concert. That actually happens at Gore concert. Like they have a giant vagina mock-up now that just comes out and like sprays you.
I should have worn one of my Gore shirts for today. I have a couple of them.
Yeah.
But something that's a huge turnoff in these movies a lot of the time that was really nicely squirted around is the rape. And I thought this movie managed to do all of the sex work and all of the trauma involved with the different things in it while maintaining a light tone. And I just find it funny that you can even mention a light tone when you're talking about a mutilated woman in the shape of a chair squirting pea juice, maybe? I don't know exactly. With the, like out onto a crab.
With the previously aforementioned train scene where the molester who tries to touch the woman eating the bugs gets his arms chopped off by our main protagonist Ruka, I think we determined that this film is definitely on the right side of that argument, right? Like and I think what were the exact words? Molestation is a crime in Japan, as the dude's like raining blood on her from his severed limbs.
It's easy to like exploit that, and like especially back in that era, it's like there was so much of just long lingering shots of like dudes groping, just like the male gaze in the worst possible time in the worst possible way. And like there was, like with Audition, like Audition's a brutal movie to watch. Like you're not supposed to watch Audition and have fun. Like you're supposed to like be like, oh my God, I'm literally just watching a snuff film. And for a lot of people, that's obviously going to be super triggering. And this movie like really doesn't have any of that. It's actually like super tame. Again, weird way of putting it.
It is, and that's one of those crazy things that I couldn't help but mention. Like,
that's where I think the S&M comes in again, though, because like I feel like this guy like is into BDSM or something, because like I feel like he's very aware of it, because like there's all these things that would be torturous to other people, but the character clearly is not really being tortured. That's just like their life, like the GIMP
sword arm
lady, yeah. Like she,
that's a guy that they identify. That's a man.
Oh, that's a dude.
Yeah, that gives blowjobs. No. I found him and he is loyal to me, I think were his exact words.
I thought the whole time he was referring to him like a dog, like good boy, that's good. But I thought that It could be me, but I thought that there were definite breasts, and I'm not trying to be unwoke here on this or anything, but like this was also 15 years ago. I just
but this is 15.
like,
that's why
I'm
think
confused about it in
that's
general.
why I think this guy really is super aware of like the BDSM community, especially at the time where like something like that would have been way more accepted. I'll call it like the kink community in general, but this like obviously is like on the very extreme end. It's not like, oh yeah, feet.
Yeah.
Can we also say about the GIMP, the legless GIMP? There on its head is written the words manic depressive, right?
Mm.
I didn't notice that.
And right before he's like this.
He like turns it on.
He's like this my loyal bruh right here, and then he's like switches it from manic to depressive, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna fight ultimate
I didn't see that switch.
lady girl now.
Yeah.
Forehead switch, dude. So I mean, yo, this movie really, like, the more watches you like, if I watch it again, I'm gonna find some more shit.
You definitely rewarded, but with more rewatches for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder what is that technology from? Like, what?
I think
that's not an engineer key. So what the hell was that?
I mean, I think it's more about like the idea.
The cops, like,
they got the money for the weapons, man. They're getting the money for the weapons, and they're turning it into switch heads, man.
That's why we
don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. That's exactly the point. You don't know how it's happening. Nobody's telling you what's happening in the back room.
That's why we need a prequel.
I started this search and I decided to discontinue my Google search by starting with Sword Gimp, and I'm just like, you know what? No matter what I finish this with, I'm gonna end up seeing something I don't wanna, and I think I'm just gonna put my phone down and wonder. I was gonna look up Sword Gimp theory, and then I'm just like, that's gonna go somewhere bad.
I've got some very suspect searches from this film, thanks to your questions about like what kind of content was in it, and then I'm searching for the content by name, and I'm like, oh, why is that popping up now?
Oh no, squirting chair lady. I shouldn't have looked this one up. Oh
no. Well, you want to go on to the next thing?
Yes.
The next segment. I have a question for you guys. If you were an engineer and you got a limb or appendage of some sort cut off and turned into a weapon, what would that be, and what would the weapon be?
Go ahead, Jenna.
Yeah, so I had a knee injury a while ago, and it was really annoying. And there was a time where I'm like, man, I just wish I could cut this fucker off and just like not have a leg. So I think I'll go with my leg.
Okay. Full leg or just at the knee?
Just at the knee. Okay. So, I could bend it and stuff like that. I don't want to be like lame though and say like a sword or a gun. maybe like a bow. Oh shit, both my legs. Okay, here it is. Okay. Both my legs at the knee are gone, but one of them's a bow and the other's an arrow. And so I like shoot.
You're like doing a handstand.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'm into that. That's good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Dick nose.
What?
Straight up.
What is that?
Nope.
That's already in the movie. First of all,
the weapon?
Yeah. I want it.
No, that is the weapon. Jenna,
hold on.
Don't ask me more questions.
It's a dick on your nose that goes like this, and it sometimes is flaccid.
And then when you see Cher's vaginally, it goes.
Oh no!
When you do this, it goes up to the brim of the. Whoa! It comes up that way. So you can. It's like an elephant. You ever seen an elephant use its trunk to like pick up wood and stuff? Like you would eventually get control of it to the point that you could. I mean, it would be very helpful for multitasking. So that's why I would pick that.
All right,
Daniel,
you got sorry.
I can't get the image of Ian eating noodles with his flaccid dick nose out of my head. So I'm sorry. I don't know where it comes out a little slowly.
I don't know where the
It's
noodles
just-
came from, but yeah, honestly, that makes
No,
sense.
literally
You
eating
could use it
anything
to
is gonna
scoop
be
them
rough.
up
Oh
and
yeah,
into
it's
your
like
mouth.
so you want
Okay,
like the
so-
dolphin ones, like the pensile penises. They can like pick.
No,
you
no,
up.
no. It's a
No,
human. It's a
okay.
human circumcised penis. It is specifically a circumcised penis of like 7 or 8 inches in length, and it like hangs like this. Like it'll hang like down here, and it'll come up. It would just
I'm
be.
just worried if he sneezes, his balls will drop.
We could play.
Balls drop
We could play throw the
from
ring
the
on the
nostrils.
Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
how?
hate
Hey,
that.
all right. So I have a question for you. How would your dick nose be used as a weapon against the police?
Yeah.
Against the police?
Don't ask
because
that question.
Fuck the police. That's how, dude. Come on.
Fuck the police.
I will literally fuck the police.
You literally
nose.
fuck them.
No,
So,
you remember-
so you would be the only good brown noser in existence.
Yeah, dude. Or like I go opposite way. You know, pink nose, brown nose, pink tongue, brown tongue, whatever you want. You know, be like that Lil Wayne song. Wee 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 wee. Like a cap. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Swinging it.
Yeah.
I swing it like this, and I bring it back around.
Oh,
To be
dude,
honest with you,
helicopter?
if that guy is a cop, I'm not committing a crime.
Dude, I would have
What?
I would have so
Fair
much. Oh, are you saying Dick Nose Cop?
Crime.
Dude, Dick Nose Cop would be the
perfect.
best. Dick Nose Cop would be the best movie. Hey guys, we got a 412 over here. Dick Nose. Hold on.
Dude,
Whoa.
it's like a cold day and it shrinks and it's a little small.
All right,
Oh,
guys.
W,
get
what your
jokes
villain
out of the
is,
way.
Mr. Freeze, would be great for it.
Yeah, shrinkage. I can't smell anything now. My sense of smell is.
but then Dick Nipples would be on top of it.
Oh, that would be sick, dude. Okay, I take it back. I
Dick
want
No Dip Nipples would have to team up because, like, if Mr. Freeze comes in, then at least the Dick Nipples will be big.
Yeah, dude. Dick nipples. Can I get the nose and the nips? Like a samurai just went like this.
Daniel, we gave you plenty of time to think about this now.
My brain stopped working a while ago. I actually have this same question written down on my emergency notes in case I was asked to give some sort of.
Oh, okay.
And I regret asking this question, even though I didn't. No, I'm gonna go full. I'm gonna go full Inspector Gadget on this one. I actually like Jenna's answer. She has had a injury that bothered her enough that she wished something was replaced. I'm going with my ankle injury that I've had for a good long time. If that had been a major injury that could have been replaced with something, I'd go with telescoping feet. And I feel like that would be great for all sorts of things that we saw in Tokyo Gore Police, because in addition to actually being usable in case I was not in a position to be literally putting my foot up somebody's ass, you could get up to higher to reach places, get around to things. I'm a fairly tall man, but it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be great to get up on top of a roof or get up, 2 stories to do something. But also, I like the idea of in Tokyo Gore Police fist gun style, that I could firmly place my foot up somebody's ass and maybe put it straight out their mouth.
All right. Nice.
You said, I heard telescope. Did you not say that?
Yeah, telescoping. Like
how are you gonna look through your toe?
Yeah.
Get your eye to your toe?
Telescoping.
Like yeah. You said telescoping foot. So like, how far away can you see with your foot?
Is this like a
I can't believe that I've got 50% of the people in here with that same interpretation of telescoping.
I mean, there's no other way to interpret it. You said a telescoping foot. So you have a foot that is able to see long distances. My question, how long is this distance? And how is that going to help?
I think he means something else. He means go gadget leg.
You mean
This
expand?
is
You
the
mean an
right word
expanding
for
foot?
this.
No, you mean an expanding foot. Is that what you're
No,
talking
that
about?
would get larger. I mean one that, like, at my
An
ankle that
extending
allows
foot.
it
An
to
extending
extend.
foot.
Yes.
Okay, an extending foot.
Okay.
He means an extending foot, Ian, is what
Okay.
he meant
Have
to
you
say.
not heard this term before? Am I crazy? I'm feeling very
No, you're
gaspy.
probably right.
Nobody knows what that
No,
word is.
I mean, well, when you have you not heard of a telescope? invented by Galileo
Galilei.
Galilei.
What's
in
a telescope do?
1683.
You pull it from this, and then you go like this with it.
They got one
Is
that
that
just
not
saw
what
the
the word
beginning of the
telescoping
universe.
means?
They got one
I
that just saw the
definitely
beginning.
I
You're
definitely
talking about
feel gaslit
stretching.
here.
You just said stretching, dude. Tell us.
No, I looked up telescoping and he's right. It's like
Well, of
a
course
thing
he's
and a
right.
thing, and then
I thought you were
extend
playing
it.
along, Jenna. Damn it. We're trying to fucking dude. We almost had him. God damn, of course you know what telescoping means. Come on. What do you think? I'm an asshole?
I didn't.
Come on.
I didn't know.
I was convinced.
All right.
I was just
very
fucking
nice.
with you, man. But Jenna, dude, you made that fucking that was a golden bit. God, I wish we could have got another 5 minutes out of that. All right, Ian. What's the next segment?
So mine before the next segment is I would get.
No one cares about yours, Ian. Come on.
So there's like samurai cop guys. They would like slice me with the katana straight down the middle, like
Ichi the
just
Killer style.
right down, or like right down the middle. So that then like my body like splits into half, and each half would form like a weird, grotesque, like monsterific weapon. Like there could be like one. Like the left side of my body would form like a chainsaw arm thing, and like a whip leg or something with spikes. Then the right side of my body would form like a photon gun thing, and but so I would become twins basically.
Yeah, that's actually really dope. Yeah,
I like that.
I like that.
So
Right.
when you said chainsaw, originally I was thinking that split on you would have a chainsaw blade that ran around it, and maybe just like some tendrils to crawl your body around. And I was just thinking how awesome that was. Like,
Dude, like a big zipper. Like
Yeah.
a big zipper
I
that
love
you get caught in, like get caught in the zipper, and it hurts. You know.
Yeah. But
Chainsaw's
no,
awesome.
I would become twins with different sorts of weapons and stuff. All right. Well, now let's go on to the segment of the reason why we're all here. You know, I was done the sequel, prequel.
All
I
right.
already mentioned
I'll
earlier there
start.
should be a prequel to this, so we know how. So Daniel could finally find out that thing that he was asking about. That I forgot already. But anyway,
There's
Ian
we're
in
talking-
here. What do
Well,
you got?
okay, so they actually were in. Apparently, there were screenshots for a prequel that was filmed in like 2010 or something, but it never got released. So I'm gonna say super engineer squad of a bunch of like engineers turned good that are trying to use their vagina powers for taking a bite out of crime. And they're gonna use the engineer abilities to help the world, and it's a cartoon. It's 22 minutes in length, Saturday morning style. Not very good, but serviceable. Like children will like it, and everything that's like they'll just kind of tweak everything just a little bit to make it PG. Like instead of a vagina alligator, it'll be like a leg alligator or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's my idea.
Okay. I think that they should make a video game. Obviously, like a Mortal Kombat type video game.
I
Where,
swear
like-
this video game I played was that, but it was like really bad. It's really funny.
Because like each character is so unique enough, and then it's like you go up the tower, you're just like fighting level boss after level boss, until you finally fight the like sword gimp, and then you defeat her, and then you get the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be like a fighting game? Like
exactly.
Like you would unlock the sword gimp when you beat her.
Yeah.
Or
And
him,
like
sorry.
each character has their own different type thing. Like you got the dick cannon guy, and you just like shoot shit out of your dick, and like they each have their own finisher, and that would be amazing. I think
that would be like something worse than Mortal Kombat.
I'm thinking of it more along the lines of a beat 'em up arcade style game, but with like 8 selectable characters.
Right,
That would be
exactly.
pretty cool. Like everyone has the same controls, but their moves do different style of things. So like you've
Yeah,
got, you know, your basic, your special, and then like an ultimate, and that'd be pretty cool to do.
right. Daniel, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I want a side story. I guess it's a little bit of a prequel slash sequel. I do want Stripper Force. I want to know the stripper side of the story. Um,
All
and
right.
I mean, obviously, we need an origin story for the squirting chair, right? So, but like that doesn't just happen that way. That you don't just wake up one day and like, you know what, I've decided to do.
I changed my answer. It's a show about the squirting chair. That's all it is.
But PG.
But PG and cartoon and Saturday morning.
I love the idea of trying to convert this into PG, by the way. I couldn't even handle that, but the Toxic Avenger did it. I assume that they can do it with this movie.
Right? You're right.
Yeah. No, but I'd love to see Stripper Force. Just basically like all these people starting out somewhat normal-ish, whatever spot in life that they were in this dystopian future, how they got into the S&M scene, how they were convinced to go down the engineering route, how they developed their skills, and you know, figured out the next step of their abilities. Only thing is, I don't think that there's any grounds for figuring out your abilities. I think the whole tumor thing does it for you based on Dick Cannon. So I don't know if there would be a lot of story there, but it'd be nice to think that there was a good conclusion to it, considering that there's still characters left over from that at the end of the show. There's lots of people that don't die that are involved in that whole process. So you'd be able to go on and make a sequel afterwards if you wanted.
Hell yeah. Cool. Jenna?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I feel like the movie set us up for a sequel kind of thing.
They literally said like they will return with more gore.
yeah. So
and they
like,
resurrected dead characters too. So
I just really
Right.
want to see that sequel. Like that's what I want. Like I want more of that. Like instead of like, you know, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like I want the Tokyo Gore Police Cinematic Universe, like TPGU. Like that's what I want. Like that would be awesome. And all directed by that guy.
Right.
Yeah, Nagashima.
And like no, like the budget stays exactly the same. You know, like there's no like having it get like, oh, we gotta get more audiences. Nope, just that.
No, the same audience, maybe less of them as we alienate them or they die of old age.
Now you said you wanted directed by the same guy. I want to see a remake of Tokyo Gore Police, but directed by Steven Kostanski, who we know as the director of Psycho Goreman.
Oh, you know, that did look Psycho Goreman like.
Yeah, with his you know, his special effects that he uses, his practical effects, that would be really cool. And then you could have Psycho Goreman team up.
My only problem with that is why not just go on with more Psycho Goreman? Like Psycho Goreman already has its own great universe. This one already has its own great universe. Like,
well, then
just go crazy and then
do it be a crossover.
At the end. Yes, exactly.
There could be a Psycho Goreman universe
crossover.
Yeah, Tokyo Gore Police Cinematic Universe, and you know they cross paths and they have like their own little. What's the name of that movie?
Alien versus Predator.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking more of like the big Marvel movie. The fuck were they called? It was like 3 of them.
Avengers?
Yeah. It'll be like the Avengers.
You're thinking of 1995.
No, you're not thinking of versus. Roger Corman's finest.
Right. Now, however, I also have a sequel idea. So, Jenna, this is the answer. This is I have a pitch for the answer to your sequel.
Ian, I don't want to hear it.
Okay. So it would be let's see. It would be called Gore police. And so basically it's years later, same director, like you said you wanted, but anyway, they would be the police force that they're still to this day trying to fight the engineers. They're on a losing battle, and they decide, what if we kind of fight fire with fire, but with, instead of these like biological weapons, we make robotic weapons. And so they take the body of a fallen soldier and turn him, like, replace all his body parts with robotic parts.
Well, that's just
Sword Gimp.
That's just Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Well, I was going to say it's RoboCop,
with the drill penis,
but it's just RoboCop, really, because that's the same kind of police force that is, it's the privatized police force.
That's true. That's true.
No, but I'm certain that they're doing that already. That's on my big list of things I don't understand about this movie. I'm fairly certain that's already happening. That's where Sword Gimp comes from, I guess.
Yeah, but it's basically
armor
more of like a literal like RoboCop. So what I'm saying is I want RoboCop fighting engineers.
Okay. Well, that's simple. I understand.
That universe already exists, so
yeah,
why not?
And Sword Gimp is like completely feasible in real life. Have you not seen Oscar Pistorius?
All right, we're not talking about Sword Gimp. We're talking about RoboCop.
Same difference. Sorry.
Besides,
hey, Ian, you really cut that off at the legs, didn't you?
Oh fuck, that was good. That was good. I'll give you that one.
Anyway, to continue my
hey, Ian, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, cool. They find out that the dead cop that is being used for the RoboCop that's been, come back, that's actually the father of the main girl. So now she is fighting her own father, and
that's a better twist in the movie itself. I like that.
Yeah, it's also the twist to Robo War. Another movie that we got to see on here that I just totally spoiled for you.
Good thing I wasn't.
These movies don't let you have a good memory for them. Just like, I'm pretty sure this guy's father's bad. I don't know, man. I don't know. Every movie that's the case.
Right.
That's a bad guy. That's a bad guy.
Let's go ahead and rank this movie. I love it. It's like Ian and I were saying, it gets better with repeated viewings. The story, the message, it's all kind of bullshit, but it's visually like pretty a little short of a masterpiece. So yeah, I'll give it 9 dick cannons. Jenna, how about you?
So this was kind of the tail end of the Japanese extreme cinema kind of thing. Like this was, I would say this is probably like the tipping point of that. And that lasted for a while, like in the late 90s to I guess around like 2010. Probably Robo Geisha was the last one of those types of movies.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I never saw it. And that kind of like, because I was like, all right. But that I do want to watch now after this. And so I was like, oh, it's probably like, I kind of remember watching it, but it's probably not that good. And rewatching, I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like 10 out of 10. I fucking 10 out of 10. I'm going to have to say it's squirting chair vaginas.
Sweet. All right,
sorry
cool.
to take all of your guys' stuff. And I do want to mention the pacing because I feel like a lot of those types of movies, like the pacing is like pretty terrible. But this one, the pacing's great. Like you are strapped in. It's like a roller coaster
absolutely
the whole time.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, there's no point to get bored.
Yeah, none.
There's
if you get
no
bored
point to
during
even
this,
catch
there's
your
no saving you.
Right. Nice. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Daniel, how about you?
I'm gonna give this a couple points lower than you guys. It's it's obvious from all of us talking about this that it's obvious that I was looking for something a little different out of it, and that I didn't engage it in the way in which it's meant to be engaged. And so I want to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Middle finger shot out of a gun, straight into the hearts and the hearts and joys of us all. And 3 of those middle fingers turned straight back at the idea of having a cohesive plot.
Nice. Love it. Very nice.
That was very illustrative.
And engineer.
Well, first of all, let me touch upon the blonde dispatcher that we haven't talked about at all during this. She gave instructions. She said, "Get him, kill him, go for it." And that moment and moments of those commercials added levity during long periods where you can get caught up in this girl is fucking cutting her arm off as she tries to cut herself. Like, what are we doing here? Right. At the same time, with every rewatch, you learn a little bit more, and you start to overlook the visceral for the ephemeral, and what you get is a more enlightened subtext than you could really imagine, in a more politically aware script than was originally perceived. So when you look at it through the lens of it's 2022. We've been dealing with violent police actions in this country for a long time. This was obviously influenced by the beating of Jesse Jackson, and we have seen decades since then that same scenario gets repeated over and over again. So you get this privatization of the police, and this is such a staunch representation of what can go wrong when you attach a dollar sign to the protection of civil liberties. So for that reason, I'm going to give this a 10 squirting acid out of nipples out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed it, and
glad you enjoyed it.
I think next time I watch it, I'll probably give it a lesser score.
All right. Now, Daniel, next time you watch it, you should have it at a party with a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, no, this is one of those films that you share with other people. I don't think that you watch this quietly with the subtitles on to experience it. I think you've got to perform it. It should be as big and over the top as the movie itself. I don't think you can underdo it. Get it on a big screen, get some people over, have some drinks, try not to smoke so much weed that you can't pay attention to it, Jenna. And
no, that was great. It was a great experience.
But I think that if you're sitting there, notebook in hand, ready to take notes and see whether or not you enjoy it, I think you're approaching it the wrong way.
I think this would be the perfect way to do it. Is get a projector, a bed sheet, have a punk band playing, in a basement somewhere, tons of beers, and put some crazy strobe lights on. That would be a good time.
You described my old house that some of my relics here come from back in our movie shoot days.
Nice.
There you go. That's when you should have seen it.
All right, well, that'll do it for this episode of Cold Trash Horror Movie Grind. Next week we're gonna cover a movie called Tank Girl, which Jenna, you'll be on for that one. Have Daniel or Ian, have either of you not seen it or don't know what it's about?
I've seen it a lot.
Okay. Ian?
Yeah, I fucking wrote the comic book, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, so I was gonna ask you to tell us the plot if you haven't seen it.
It's like there. If I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So
right.
you there's a girl and she's made out of
it.
tanks, dude.
Yeah. All right.
She
cool.
walks around like this. They're tanks are her arms and legs. Everyone goes, tank girl, look at the little tank girl. And she walks around, no, don't make fun of and she tries to wipe her tears, but she's just wiping them with the treads of the tanks that are her hands, and it just rips her face apart, but her face is made of tank, so it really doesn't hurt in the end. And then Gwen Stefani shows up and she's like, I'm just a tank girl in the world. And then Pauly Shore.
All right, nice. Yeah, there you go. All right, so check that episode. Also, check out Jenna. She's been in movies. Swamp Zombies 2, which we covered early on when the show started. You have a new movie that's coming out, or is it already out?
It's out on like if you sign up for the Patreon, but it should be coming out in like we're not really sure the date, but probably like a year into like mainstream DVD and whatnot.
All right, cool. Well,
plug the Patreon. What's the Patreon?
Patreon.com/KillerWolfFilms.
There you go.
Nice.
Speaking of Patreon, stick around because after this, we're going to talk about the global positioning system and how it affects common economies.
Well, nobody's gonna pay attention with it.
All right, then what are we gonna talk about, Ian? Tell us what we're gonna talk about.
I don't know yet, actually.
All right,
we'll find out.
Surprise.
We'll find out.
It's a surprise.
It's
how about
secret.
Elon Musk's torso?
We're gonna talk about the musk of my torso. Let's go talk about it.
Come
on, come listen. Pay $1.
All right, everybody, come and join us at the Patreon. And for
I'd
those
buy that
who are
for $1.
Those who are not, see you next time.